Hello everybody, I'm Slampy and welcome back to another episode of Metroid Other M. In the last episode we had a mental breakdown, we fought Ridley before he ran off, Anthony fell in some lava and we lost contact with Adam. And then right at the end of the episode we found a sneaky member of the Galactic Federation team sneaking about the facility. It's probably the deleter, so we decided to follow him to see what he was up to. And that's what we're going to carry on doing. So he headed in a general thiswards direction. So let's see if we can find him and see where he went and see what he's up to and catch him in the act. So we're back in Sector 1. I like how our new plasma beam just kind of makes really light work of most of these sort of early enemies now. Even the sort of nests on the wall that usually take a few missiles to get rid of just get blown up by a couple of shots. Anyway, we jump up these steps and we'll head into here. And in this room we have a new enemy, or a kind of variation on an old enemy. These are the mighty grip. Oh Jesus Christ! Get off me! No! Ow! Damn, that did a lot of damage. These are the mighty griptions. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. Damn, got an early lethal strike on that guy after he beat the shit out of me. You can tell they're mighty because they have spikes. They're basically the same. They're just kind of stronger. They do more or less the same sort of thing. Don't go for an overblast though, I would say. They seem to be pretty resistant to overblasts. I'll see if I can demonstrate here. Or I can just get smacked in the face, that works too. Basically, if you try and go for an overblast, they just kind of swat you away, so it's not really worth doing it. One thing I did kind of read in between fighting all these guys is, yeah, they seem to be... Oh, damn it, I shot him. They seem to be pretty weak to morph ball bombs. So if you can kind of hit him with a morph ball bomb, it tends to stun him, and then if you're lucky you can get in a lethal strike pretty quickly. But it's a little tricky. I accidentally shot him, which sort of before going for the lethal strike, which seemed to weaken that first one. But anyway, I took her at the second one, and now we can advance onwards and chase after the deleter. You might notice there's this kind of grappling point up there. We still can't get to that yet, so we're just going to ignore it and carry on through this corridor, and we'll see where the deleter is. Okay, so let's head into here. Oh, it's this big tree room. Yes, okay, we've seen this earlier. Anyway, deleter, hello? Are you here? Where did you go? There he is. Let's keep after him. And uh-oh, another mighty thingy. Let's we're probably you could probably Jesus Christ. You could everything, even the little enemies are just beating the shit out of me. Okay, you could probably stand here and fight me if you want, but it's not really necessary. I'm just going to kind of sneak past him and just land on all the spiky enemies apparently. And we're just going to keep after the deleter. Let's not let him get away. Keep going. Run, Samus. Okay, this room, we've been in here a few times as well. We can just blast the big fly trap like enemies with one shot from the plasma beam, and we can use the grapple beam to swing up here. Okay, I don't think... Hello, you want to let go? I seem to have problems letting go of the grapple points for some reason. Anyway, here is... Oh, little cubby hole. We'll blow up that rock, and we'll blow up this box too, and we get a lovely missile tank. Excellent. I have a feeling we probably could have got that earlier, so I don't really know why I've left it until this point. Oh, I could be wrong, I don't know, it just seems like a very easy one to get. There's also another pickup in here that we will be able to get very shortly, but not quite yet. We don't quite have the ability. Alright, he's still going. Okay, let's just chase after him. We'll just, blast these side hoppers out of the way and get landed on by one of them. And you probably tell this is a save point, so we're going to save our game, refill our health. Okay, game is saved, health is refilled. Let's not dilly-dally any longer though, he's getting away, chase after him. What was that noise? Let's keep going. Damn, okay, so he's clearly sussed that we're following him and he's deactivated the bridge, and there doesn't appear to be any way we can get across. If you remember that strange noise we heard as we were running through that corridor, that will be him filling up this computer with bullet holes. So we can't reactivate the bridge, so... what are we going to do? Let's take a closer look at this.
Any objections, Adam?
Oh my god, Samus is actually using her initiative and just activating her own abilities without Adam's authorization. Lovely. Okay, so we kind of got like 2 in 1 there, although they're sort of the same thing. Space jump basically lets us cover any horizontal distance. Just by kind of mashing the 2 button, we can just keep jumping through the air, which is nice. And that comes sort of in tandem with the screw attack. You can kind of see all the flashing orange lights around us. That does a lot of damage to enemies we'll hit, so it's a good way of just taking care of some sort of weaker enemies. You may remember this room from several episodes ago. I think we snuck into that hole down there, or maybe one over there, I'm not sure, to get a missile tank, but we couldn't come any further. We ran across the bridge at the time and found our way to this lift, but the lift then was locked. Now, however, it is unlocked. It seems our deleter friend didn't seem to think locking it behind him was a good idea. He seemed to be pretty confident we weren't going to get across the bridge, but he didn't take into account our space jump. So let's head on into this lift and see where he's gone. Chase after him. And now we're just standing in the lift, and I've got to try and think of something interesting to say whilst we're in the lift. There's nothing to say in the lift. Okay, we're here. Good. It's only pretty much one way to go, so let's keep going. And I believe this is another save point. Okay, so let's save our game again. Okay, game saved again. Let's continue. Let's chase after him, see where he's gone. He's been pretty generous with the save points there. Got a long corridor to run through with a couple of little bumpy bits to stop us speed boosting through. Let's head on through this door and see what we find.
I'm not a member of the Galactic Federation. I came here because I intercepted the distress call. I'm a bounty hunter. And I know that something is after you. Please, you must believe me. Thank you. I'm Samus Aran. What's your name?
Madeline Bergman. Behind closed doors, the Galactic Federation was trying to create a special forces unit composed of bioweapons. In order to make it happen, they were attempting to create an organization modeled after the space pirates, with the Zebesians at the center. But because of a certain presence, the life forms became ferocious. We were no longer able to control them.
By a certain presence, she must have meant Ridley. So you sent out the distress signal, even though it endangered your life?
I had to. I felt there was a real danger here, that if left as is, the Zebesians would continue to evolve and resurrect as real space pirates.
If that danger was real, then the risk of withholding information to protect herself was too great, clearly. And yet, wasn't she the one who set the facility's system to self-destruct? In silence, I praised her courage and sense of responsibility. At the same time, her argument had some holes. Say that the Zebesians, under Ridley's influence, became super aggressive. Would that really lead to the resurrection of the space pirates? Without a malicious force to lead them down that path, wouldn't they continue to merely follow their instincts, ultimately becoming no more than a swarm of feral creatures? Regardless, it was clear that the Galactic Federation was ready to consign their enormous mistake to oblivion. And that's why they sent a deleter. And as for Madeline and others who knew the secret? But wait, there was another inconsistency in her story. Why go to such lengths at all, With just a small flexing of the Galactic Federation's military force, they should have been able to destroy a facility of this scope with ease. So why didn't they?
Actually, there was an even more dangerous plan. Come with me.
What? That's not possible. The Metroids were terminated along with Zebes. Yes. And the last of them, the baby, met its end above my head.
You're Samus Aran, right? The one who annihilated the space pirates? Metroid remnants were attached to your suit when you returned from Zebes. They were reproduced from a piece of cell structure salvaged by the Federation, and they are in this facility.
I gave your suit a polish so you'd be at least somewhat presentable.
And Ridley in the same way.
At first, no one thought that the creature was Ridley. They didn't think it had potential as a bioweapon at all. They raised it like a pet, calling it Little Birdie. Until one day, it attacked one of the researchers and got away. Ridley had played dead and lured the scientist into his cage. What was left? It was a horrible sight.
But in order to control Metroids, you need Mother Brain's telepathy. You don't. You didn't recreate a Mother Brain clone, did you?
It's artificial intelligence. We developed an AI program that would reproduce Mother Brain's thought processes. We called it MB.
But it was just a program. It wasn't the Mother herself.
MB evolved as it communicated with the Metroids. It appears as though it began to become self-aware, much like the original Mother Brain. It's really quite remarkable.
That's when it became clear to me just why Madeline was so afraid of the space pirate's resurrection. It wasn't that her story had holes in it. Through the holes were glimpses of the danger that was right before her eyes. If everything she said was true, where are the Metroids and MB?
They're in an area called Sector 0. It's a unit that doesn't appear in any of our map data. It's a place like Turian, where we propagate and raise Metroids.
I began to see what the worst-case scenario would look like. The ultimate weapon, the Metroid, would be mass-produced, and as soon as an AI that could control them was developed, the plan to create a special forces unit modeled after the space pirates was replaced. But as the AI called MB spun out of control, the facility became a place much like the planet Zebes. If the situation were left alone, galactic society would be put in peril. Even the ringleaders of the operation wanted to avoid that, but they still wanted the Metroids. And that's why they decided to capture the Metroids contained in Sector 0 and delete the rest of the facility, including the space pirates, Ridley, and everyone who knew the secret. But before the ringleaders could act, Adam appeared. Adam might have known or suspected the truth about the facility from the beginning. Regardless, since the ringleaders were members of the Galactic Federation, they could no longer act recklessly. And so a deleter was installed as a member of Adam's team to destroy evidence and plan each subsequent move. But having me added on as a member must have disrupted the Galactic Federation's plans. Madeline, thanks for telling me all this. I've got to destroy the Metroids and MB in Sector 0. You have to remain hidden. Don't worry. The Galactic Federation CO who's here now will help you. You're safe.
Does that CO happen to be Commander Adam Malkovich? The real leader of this operation is Commander Malkovich. I can't believe that he's here.
Stay here until I return.
I'd just like to point out that I've had to, for various technical reasons, I've had to re-record this episode about 4 times today. You can't skip the cutscenes, which means I've had to sit and watch that 10-minute beast of a cutscene about 4 times through. It's very annoying. Anyway, it's kind of booted us out back outside this elevator, this lift that we came down or went up earlier. I don't know. And so we're going back the way we came. So. We can use the computer on this side of the bridge, so I'm gonna... I used that from a weird angle. Anyway, so I'm going to activate that and reactivate the bridge. So, let's talk about that cutscene a little bit. A few things happened. We found the mystery survivor from earlier. We now know she's called Madeline Bergman. I kind of do wonder how she made it all the way over to this part of the ship unharmed, but yeah, that's a question for another day. The basic point that you want to be taking from that is... basically, the Galactic Federation have been up to no good. They've been very naughty, and inevitably, it's not gone as planned. And stuff's gone all wrong, and Adam might be involved too. And what it comes down to is, there's more Metroids! Yes, of course there is. There's always more Metroids. So that's what we're going to do now. Now we are on our way to this fabled Sector 0. I don't think the game actually mentions it at any point, but to get to Sector 0, we have to go through Sector 2. So that's where we're going now, back to the elevators to get to Sector 2. I'm just going to use a screw attack on these guys. Look how much more effective the screw attack is. Well, apart from when you miss, is on these guys opposed to shooting at them. Look at how quickly I just took those guys out. Screw attack's lovely for minor enemies like that. Anyway, in this room. I think I did mention earlier that there is another pickup in here that we couldn't get before. Now we can, because we have the space jump. So we can just, once we get back up to that middle section, we can just space jump back to this kind of ledge above this door, and we will find a nice shiny red box, and in it is a shiny red energy part. And I think that's enough. Yes, that's the 4th one, so that gives us another energy tank. Excellent. Okay, so a couple of other things about that cutscene. One that really bugs me, and that kind of bugs a lot of other people too, is the deleter. So the reason we even went into that room in the first place, went where we did, is we were chasing the deleter. And then when we got in there, we had a big old cutscene, and we even mentioned the deleter a few times, and then the cutscene ends, and we just forget all about the deleter. And that pretty much sums up the entire deleter storyline, to be perfectly honest. I'm going to get off this bridge. I'm not fighting these two here. This is really barely any room. Let's get over here. Yeah, it's kind of stupid. We just sort of forget about the deleter, despite it apparently being a major problem and a big threat. We kind of forget about it, despite He'd been like right there. We knew he was around somewhere, but we just kind of ignore him. It's kind of stupid. Anyway, the only other kind of minor thing I wanted to mention, which is just a small thing that I just kind of noticed, is the way it ends with the kind of there's like a gunshot and then the screen fades to black. They kind of already used that trick in the last episode during the cutscene before the Ridley battle. Whoops! Oh, I meant to do a shine spot there. A similar thing happened with Ridley. Wait, is there another? Oh, there's another guy up there. I'm just going to ignore him. A similar thing happened with Adam, where there was like a gunshot and then you saw his earpiece like spinning away across the floor. It's just kind of like, they've done that twice now in the space of 2 episodes. It just kind of amuses me that they've done the whole like, oh, we're going to heavily imply that somebody's dead, but we're not going to actually 100% confirm it. Oops, maybe I've said too much. Anyway, let's carry on into this room. And as we approach this door, get ready to sense move, because it's our old buddy, he's back again for more. It was kind of weird at the door there. I pressed right to sense move to the right and Samus went left. Which is weird. Oh, well, I guess she went to her right, so maybe it's not so weird. Anyway, so yeah, this is the 4th encounter with this guy. He's getting a bit old now, to be perfectly honest. I wish he'd just die. I kind of feel like maybe they ran out of ideas for bosses. And they had like ideas where they wanted to put boss fights, but they just didn't have enough ideas, so they just we'll just have a recurring enemy. And he's not really that much of a threat in this one either, because all he does is swoop across the room and shoot missiles at you, both of which are very easy to deal with, and he's already dead. So yeah, that's probably the easiest of all his encounters. Anyway, let's grab our glowing apple, and we'll get a new ability. Lovely. The Seeker Missile, lovely. Launches multiple missiles simultaneously. Basically, just use it like a super missile, but it'll shoot missiles at other things too. I've just realised a slight problem with this episode in that we're probably not going to get to see that. We've just got a new ability and we're probably not going to get to see it in this episode because there's not really anything to use it on. That's a slight problem on my part, bad planning. I mean, it's going to be a treat in the next episode. Yeah, that's what you're going to see, because we're going to end the episode here in this save station, pretty much exactly where we started. Let's save our game. I kind of apologise if that episode seemed more cutscene than actual gameplay, but that's just kind of how this game is, and this feels like a good point to stop based on my little plan. So yeah, that's where we're going to end it for today. But in the next episode we will continue down or up to Sector 2 and see if we can find the entrance to Sector 0 and eliminate all the Metroids, and we'll also get to see how the Seeker Missile works. Oops. See you next time, everybody. Bye bye.